Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Brooke DeBoer. She is a certified life coach and she specializes in helping individuals overcome challenges and create the life of their dreams. Her mission is to empower others to break free from limiting beliefs and live with purpose, confidence, and joy. She is also an author. Welcome to the show, Brooke.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how one can transform their trauma into triumph, how they can break away from the past and live the life that they desire. But before we talk this, Brooke, let's understand a bit more about you, about your journey, about your background, so that people know who they are listening to.
Yes. So basically, I had experiences with bullying all through my school age years, all the way up until I was in my 18 to 20-year-old phase. And then I ended up in an abusive relationship and eventually a single mom. And I had a decision to make at that point when I was expecting a child. What kind of mom am I going to be? Who am I going to be? What is the rest of my life going to look like? And I think it took for me having another life to be responsible for to make the decision to change and learn and grow and heal so that I could be good for my daughter. My story goes on. It's covered in my new book, but it's a long story of healing because it was a journey for me. And there were several stages to it. After being, a mom of two more children, finding my partner for life, and then having two more kids, I ended up having a health crisis. And it was when I went through the health crisis that I realized I needed to learn how to care for myself. So I did quite a bit of work on that. And in 2020, when COVID happened, I decided that I had done all this work on myself, that now it was time to give back and help other people. So I became a life coach for women. It was at that point that I started to realize how many women went through the trauma of either bullying, abuse, or just situations that broke down their self-worth. And I realized that it was important to serve and help in this way and find ways to help women become empowered. And not only just women, I've had male clients too. So I've realized that this is a universal thing and it's something that's much needed in the world so that we can create a world that's filled with happy people that are living fulfilled and empowered.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Brooke. So first to understand, how does bullying in school impact one in later life? How does it work there? And then we'll come to the step-by-step method that you suggest.
Yes, of course. Well, for me, I'll just speak from my own experience and the experiences that I've come in contact with. And I think often when you have bullying and it goes uncorrected, you're not able to figure out a way to become empowered or stand up for yourself. It tends to work on your self-worth. And ultimately, then you just start, internalizing messages that eventually kind of break you down. And everybody has a different response to going through something like this. For me, it taught me that I couldn't trust people. It taught me that even people you shared your heart with were going to break your heart at some point. And so I then went through life for a long time, not trusting relationships, being reactive and feeling like, almost like in some of my interactions, like an animal backed into a corner. Like I became reactive and defensive and just wasn't able to trust people. So, and I wasn't able to live my full authentic life because I was so concerned about what other people thought about me. And I wasn't asking for relationships that also gave to me. So I was never really very balanced. And it had a lot of effects. I mean, I could go on. And it's different though for everybody how they respond to being bullied. It's just different for everybody.
Right. And that is where we come to your step system for healing from bullying and abuse. Tell us a bit about this so that people who may not be able to take your coaching, but at least listen to this episode, they will be able to follow these steps.
Yes, well, it starts with understanding what bullying is. And usually it's a pattern of behavior that is in effort to control you. So if you're in a relationship that is imbalanced in this way to where you are being mistreated, I mean, there's several forms of it, right? There's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, we now have a whole big problem with cyberbullying. So my book kind of starts with sharing my story first so that you don't feel alone and knowing that you too can heal, because if I went through this, then you also can heal and find your way through it. Then we go into what is bullying, explaining that, detailing it out as much as possible in the book. I feel like there's a second book coming because I feel like there's more to include, but it goes over and it sort of gives you an overview. Then I go back to providing examples and connecting those to what I detail as bullying. I tie that into my experience. And then I talk a lot about boundaries, understanding your values, and then once you know what your values are and what you are wanting and desiring and what's important to you, then you can start looking at finding reciprocal relationships. Because once you understand yourself really well, then you can go out and ask for a relationship that reflects those values, that gives you in return what you're putting out there. And I talk a lot about reciprocal relationships and creating strong boundaries for yourself. What's okay with you and what's not okay with you. And once you're able to do that and feel empowered to do that and ask for that and know that that's okay, and that all of the things that have happened to you aren't your fault, you didn't deserve them, then you can start working on your own life moving forward, what it is that you want to create in your life.
Right, Brooke. So I want to understand the challenges. The main thing is about your bullying, and then you want to get out of it. But then the challenge is that how do you do it, and you just get stuck to that position. So how does one get break free from that mindset? It is very difficult to you just like memories. You cannot get rid of memories. You cannot get rid of the past memories, bad memories, or bullying or stuff like that. So how does one deal with this sort of a challenge when they are trying to overcome this past trauma?
Well, I think it's really important to find a support system. For me, it was extremely important to find people that could help support me in my healing. And I think it takes courage to, for me, my story was that I was in an abusive relationship. I was expecting a child. I was being mistreated, talked to poorly. There was even some physical abuse. And there was a certain breaking point for me where I was like, I had to actually look myself in the mirror and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. You don't deserve this. Like, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. And I needed to talk to myself and say, I can get out of this. I can make a change. And it was at that point that I realized that I could have the courage to make the change. So the first step is really to just, you may not know how you're going to heal. You may be afraid to be alone. You may not like the way that you've been treated. But I think it's really, really important to just make that first stand. And then you need to find people who can support you to heal, whether if it's a counselor, an organization that supports people. There are many out there. There are a lot listed in my book. A supportive friend, somebody you feel safe to tell your actual feelings to, that's going to help walk you through or be a support to you while you heal. So I think if you can get those two things done, then the rest of it can work itself out. And then it just takes the belief that you deserve better and the knowing that you never deserved what happened to you in the first place. Like, this was never supposed to happen to you. It's not okay, and the book can help you with that because it serves as a reminder, that I'm somebody who's been bullied all through school age years, and I was in an abusive relationship, but I got out. I have a successful family now. I have a successful career. I'm able to help and serve other people. That's why I wrote the book. I want to be an inspiration to those that might be in a stuck place, that they too can get out of this.
Right, right. And you talked about boundaries. How, when does boundary come into the picture? Should we start putting boundaries or start protecting our boundaries as soon as we come to know that such a thing can be applicable? How does that work? And you talk about, to protect one's energy and reclaiming one's life. So how does this energy part come in? I've heard that others, toxic people, can take away a lot of your energy and leave you with nothing for yourself, and that is where the boundary comes. Help us understand a bit on this aspect, so that one can protect uh, the best that they can to themselves.
Well, if you're with somebody who's repeatedly making you feel bad about yourself, question yourself, affecting your confidence, draining your energy, it's at that point, what I want to say is you should not feel that way in a relationship. Secondarily, I think when you have realized this, it's okay to ask for help, get that support. And then boundaries the simplest definition was given by Brene Brown, which is boundaries are simply what is okay with you and what is not okay with you. So that's why I say you kind of need to do the values work and the work on what you believe before you start setting your boundaries, because it's kind of hard to say what's okay or not okay if you don't know. But the bottom line is it's never okay for you to be mistreated, belittled, put down, emotionally manipulated, which is why I talk about those things in the book so you can understand what those are. Sometimes we don't even know. Like, as a teenager, I didn't know that those were the things that were happening to me. I didn't understand what they were. I just knew it felt bad. So, yes, if you see that a relationship is making you repeatedly feel bad and drain your energy, that's probably a signal that you then need to look to do the work to understand what it is that they're doing that's making you feel bad. And once you understand that, then you could say, this is not okay with me. And I'm not going to continue this relationship if this is the way that it's going to be. The other thing is, I've found in my life, you can't really change people. You can certainly speak up and say what's okay or not okay with you. And sometimes people will choose to change on their own because they'll realize, oh, shoot, I didn't know that this was what I was doing was affecting you. But if that doesn't happen, then it's okay to let that relationship go and seek relationships that are supportive of you, that are caring of your heart and your feelings, because that is important.
Absolutely, that is important. And that brings me to your book, Living the Free Life. Tell us a bit
Yes.
about your book, what this book is all about. Who is this book for? Is it only for people who have suffered abuse and trauma, or is it for everyone who would want to live a free life?
I think it could be for everybody, because I even wrote in the preface of the book that this book is also for the people who've been bullies. But I was thinking about it today. Anybody, even the people that are watching somebody being bullied or have bullied or maybe have suffered from bullying, could get something out of the book. The first part of the book is to give courage and hope to those who've been through it by telling my story. So it also can create understanding for people who haven't been bullied or bullied, but can then have a new awareness about what bullying does to people, so that you can watch out for it. For instance, I kind of want a lot of teens to read this book because it can help you identify that somebody's being bullied if you have an awareness of that happening to somebody and what it did to them and what are the signs to look out for. And you can also have some information about what bullying is. If you're armed with that information, you can be a upstander. I heard this on a website. There's bystanders and upstanders. You can stand up to somebody being bullied. You could be a friend to somebody who's sitting alone, who's isolating themselves, probably because they're being bullied, and maybe help prevent something bad happening to that person.
Right, right. There is much to learn and understand about these things from you, Brooke, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to connect with you, learn more from you, about you, learn from your book. What is the best way for them to do so?
So they can visit my website. It's thebrookedeboer.com. And if you go to /author, there's information on the book. There's a link to connect to where my book is being sold on Amazon. You can go directly to Amazon as well. It's Living the Free Life. There's a companion guide to the book that's a free resource for you on my website at that same link. So it's something that you can use to share your thoughts, what your reflections are as you go through the book. I also have an Instagram, which is @FreeBrooke, and you can direct message me there. I try to respond to everybody's messages. It's how you can connect with me for coaching if you'd like some one-on-one coaching. I'm working on developing a group coaching program that will be more affordable to people. I don't know when that'll be released, but it's coming soon. So you can reach out to me. And there's also a contact form on the website as well.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.